What up, everybody, and welcome back to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I'm going to talk about a blade. Today's blade, Columbia River, guys. The Columbia River Akari fixed blade. Now, for those of you that are subscribed to my channel, you know I've got a giveaway running right now, my very first giveaway. This is actually one of the prizes in that giveaway. It's part of the first place prize package. I did not have a review of it on my channel, so I'm going to go ahead and do a review of it before I put it back into packaging and box it up for the giveaway. Now, this is a Lucas Burnley design. I want to talk about Lucas first. I don't think that I have met Lucas Burnley. I don't think that I have. I've seen a lot of interviews with Lucas. I've seen a lot of his designs as they're licensed by Columbia River and Boker. I've seen a lot of his custom work out there, and I really, really like Lucas Burnley's design language. I've seen him quoted as saying that he wants to design a beautiful knife with a tactical flair. And I, reading between the lines, I think he's going for more of a utilitarian sort of tactical flair, rather than, hey, I'm just going out and knife fighting sort of tactical flair. And from what I've seen in his designs, he really hits that on the, he just hits that target. He's shooting center mass on that one, guys. And this knife is a good example of that. It's a small fixed blade. Very utilitarian. It's got some great features to it. It's got a great look to it. And we will get into a little bit of that later on in the review. And I thought it was funny. I just watched a video review with Lucas Burnley. And he said that when he was 15 years old, the first production knife he ever bought was a Columbia River version of the Ed Halligan Stiff Kiss. And I sold a bunch of those little fixed blades when I was selling knives. And I think it's really neat that Lucas's relationship with Columbia River actually goes back into his private and personal life, predating when he was a knife maker. And he has chose to go with Columbia River to license his designs. Because anybody that's familiar with Columbia River, what they're basically about is they do lower cost production versions of licensed custom knife designs. Nearly everything that Columbia River Knife and Tools makes is a production version of a pre-existing custom knife. And in the custom knife world, you're looking at, on the low end, $200 to thousands of dollars for knives. And most people, they can't afford that. Columbia River, for all intents and purposes, puts those custom knife designs into everyday person's hands at a approachable and doable price point. And I've always admired this company for that reason. This is just another great example of that. All right, another cool thing about this knife is it's two knives, guys. I know it just looks like I'm holding one knife there, but this is actually two knives, and I'm going to tell you how. There is this model, the Akari, and there is another model called the Achi. It's ACHI. They are the same exact blade blank. The Akari is ground on this side of the blade for an upswept blade profile. The Achi is ground on this side of the blade for a drop down sort of recurve type of blade profile. It's the same exact blade blank. I'm sorry, guys. And that is genius. That is genius. In the custom knife world and in the production knife world, that just makes for much more efficient production and output if you can get two different designs out of the same blank, guys. It's genius. It's genius. I very much admire that. All right, let's set this down. We're going to take a look real quick at the packaging. Comes in the standard Columbia River knife and tool, confidence in hand, green packaging. Let's see here. Here is your information. Pause and read. The Akari 2480, a product of China. Yes, it is made in China. Inside this box, you are going to find the plastic bag that the knife and sheath is in. You are going to find a additional J-hook for carrying this inside the waistband, and then you're going to find some Columbia River paperwork that's got care instructions and product information in it. Pretty standard Columbia River packaging. It's pretty simple packaging. I've always thought that it was fairly attractive though, and it does give a little more premium feel to Columbia River products. All right, let's go ahead and knock the specs out of this because numbers are boring. But what we've got here is a small fixed blade. We're looking at a 2 3/4, 2.8 inch blade length, which is 7 centimeters. The blade stock thickness is 131 thousandths of an inch or 3.34 millimeters. The blade width is 945 thousandths of an inch or 24 millimeters. The handle length, about 3.5 inches or 9 centimeters. The handle thickness, and I went ridge to ridge on the ramp, is 488 thousandths of an inch or 12.4 millimeters. The handle width on average is about an inch up here at the wider part of it, or 25.5 millimeters. The overall length, 6.25 inch, right around 6.25 inch or 16 centimeters. The behind the edge thickness on mine was 25 thousandths. The weight for the knife alone was 2.68 ounces, 3.67 ounces with the sheath, or 76 grams and 105 grams respective. All right, let's go ahead and talk about materials here. Like a lot of Columbia River products, this blade steel is HCR 13 MOV. Now this is a mid-range Chinese-made stainless steel. It's a decent steel, guys. It's not a super steel by any means, but it's not junk steel either. HCR and AUS 8 and 440 series steels are really close to each other, slightly different in their alloy and content, but as far as performance, they're right there together with each other. HCR has a 0.7 to 0.8% carbon content. The chromium is 13 to 14.5%. You'll typically see this rock weld anywhere from 56 to 59. It is a vanadium and niobium alloyed steel, and those are both carbide formers. I do not know if there is enough free roaming carbon in this at just 0.7 to 0.8% to bind with the vanadium and niobium for carbides. I have found HCR easy to sharpen, of course. It will not hold an edge forever. You're going to have to be able to sharpen if you use it continuously. It does take a very keen edge. I have sharpened HCR where I can whittle hair with it. And that's lengthwise, guys. That's not cutting hair, because, I mean, you can cut hair with a butter knife. That is lengthwise. I can whittle hair with HCR 13. So it will take a wicked sharp edge. It just won't hold it forever. Now, on the handle, what you've got here is a lot like the Obake. In fact, the handle is done exactly like the Obake model, which is another Lucas Burnley model done by Columbia River. It is in a faux ray skin underlay on this model that is in a neon green. And I have owned knives with real ray skin. This faux ray skin looks good enough to where people are not going to look at it and go, ugh, that looks terrible. It looks decent, guys. And then you've got a traditional Japanese style cord wrap on it. The great thing about these cord wraps, I mean, you see that cross section, guys. There's just tons of grip here. And this is a very tough handle material for one reason. It is epoxy resin impregnated. So what they do is they take epoxy resin after they wrap this, and they take a brush and they paint all this cord with epoxy resin. While that epoxy resin is still soft, it soaks into the cord and then it hardens. And everybody knows epoxy resin gets as hard as rock, basically. So what you have is, look closer, you have the look and the texture of cord, but it is hard as a rock. Okay, that wrap is not going to come off like some cheap ass knife that's just got some cord wrapped around it. That is pretty much there permanently, guys. And like I'd say, look at that cross section. I mean, that's just grip for days. No need for a finger choil with this knife. You are not going to slip on that handle. All right. It's a pretty basic knife. You got a steel blank, you've got the faux ray skin underlay, you've got some cord wrap, and that's your materials, guys. The fit and finish on this knife is excellent. We'll start up here on the blade. Now, this is done in the titanitride acid etch finish like the Obake is, except you can see on this, the underlaying coating is not silver, it's a bronze color, and then you've got the gray over it, and then the splatter effect acid etching through to the bronze. It is very, very attractive, guys. It's going to be different on every blade, and I've looked at a bunch of knives that Columbia River has done like this, and it is not any type of applied pattern. It is random. It's always very well done, guys. I mean, even back on the spine of the blade, it's really attractive. I don't think it's that as expensive of a process, but it sure does add a lot of pop and eye appeal to this little knife. As far as the grinds, it is done in a hollow grind. It's not the thinnest behind the edge at 25 thousandths, but it is a pretty decent slicer. And anybody that wanted to resharpen this knife and maybe take it to a little thinner edge, I think this would be a very serious little slicer at that point. It is not the pointiest knife blade profile. It is sort of a modified spear point, is how Lucas Burnley refers to it, and I see that in that design. It's a fairly high hollow grind. The grinds are pretty well done on it, and I'm sorry about my camera going out of focus, guys. It's a very attractive, very well done, utilitarian sort of blade profile. Now, is it a tactical, elite, man-killing machine? No. It's a very utilitarian. If you wanted to carry a small fixed blade to accompany your everyday carry folder, this is a perfect design. It's got heavy enough blade stock at 131 thousandths or 3.34 millimeter. You could do some heavy duty work with it. It's got plenty of belly right here, guys. Plenty of belly to work with. It is, while it's not the sharpest point in the world, it is pointy enough for piercing to start cuts with. And I think that overall it's a superb utilitarian blade profile. All right, fit and finish on the handle. Guys, this is pretty basic. Faux ray skin underlays with a cord wrap. The cord wrap, you can see, is done tightly and evenly. It looks good. It gives it that Asian flair that Lucas loves so much, and by golly, I love it too, guys. Just like I say, I love his design language. I love this Asian design, but in a sort of a modern utilitarian look. I would not classify this as a classic Asian profile. It is more of a modern sort of profile, but It does have that Asian flair. Look at this curve, guys. This whole profile, the whole length of this knife is curved. You get it in your hand. You've got that rising sort of a lot of belly here rising up towards the tip. You know what? That's a great design, and it's very well done. I see no issues with fit and finish at all. Like I said, the epoxy resin on that handle is very tough. It should last you forever if taken care of. All right, we'll set that down. We're going to take a look at the sheath. The sheath is a GRN type of sheath, and that's a fiber reinforced nylon, and it is molded for the knife. You can see here you've got plenty of eyelets and slots for mounting. It does come with the ripcord style lanyard on it with a metal skull bead, and that is a metal bead, so it's not plastic. You carry this inside the waistband ripcord style, or you can attach the included J-hook and carry it that way. I believe these eyelets are also spaced for a small tech lock. I did not try that, but just eyeballing it, I believe it is. Now, as far as the fit, you know, I'm torquing on it pretty good there, guys. I'm getting no rattle or anything. It's a very good fit. You're not gonna have any issues with this falling out. It could be carried around the neck as a neck knife, although I think it's a little bit big for that. But you've got a thin profile. It's not too wide. It's fairly small. I think it would be great for inside the waist carry, and that's the way that I would carry this knife. So the sheath, it's winner. It's a winner, guys. I don't see any issues with fit and finish, build quality. The fit's great. The design's good. Plenty of carry options right out of the box. So, overall on this knife, if you like Lucas Burnley's design language, you want a small fixed blade, you like this sort of Asian-inspired look, you want a utilitarian blade that's got some premium looks to it, a very high-end design, but at an accessible price point. I believe I paid like $25 for this knife. I think that I got this one off of Blade HQ, and it was $24.99, guys. That's a great deal for this knife. I don't know what the current price is, but you know, at $30 and lower, fabulous deal. So if you find it in that price range, you're wanting a small fixed blade that is utilitarian. It has that Asian flair, a little more premium look because of the blade treatment and the handle treatment. Fabulous grip. Again, we're going to go to this cross section, guys. Look at that. That is, I mean, once you grip that, you cannot move on that grip, guys. I'm telling you right now. No worries about using this with wet hands at all. You are not going to slip on that handle. It is plenty comfortable. It is curved. It is rounded. It is neutral. A forward grip, a reverse grip, a draw grip, you know, a pinch grip. You know what, guys? I just don't see anything that you couldn't do with this knife that is doable with a small fixed blade. So, again, another fabulous Columbia River product. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I love what this company does. It gives people access to these custom designs at a approachable and acceptable and doable price point for the everyday person. I can recommend this knife, and even though I do not have its sibling, the Achi, it's going to be the exact same thing, but flipped over with the drop down blade and a recurve. And I'm not a recurve fan, so this is the one I bought. But in the Achi, it would be the same exact thing, guys, and I would expect the same build quality overall. So, for whoever wins first place in my first giveaway, my first channel giveaway, congratulations, guys. This is a great little knife to go along with the rest of that package. For anybody that is considering one of these knives a purchase, do it. Do it. It's a great little fixed blade, and I can recommend it. As always, guys, I thank you very much for taking the time to watch one of my videos. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you the next time.